Wait, 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 wait. Because I thought that this was a story. This is a real person. This was a real encounter. Stop playing.
Bend your back, start look back. Bend your back, start look back. Walk it up, yeah. Walk it up, yeah.
Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. Eh, 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 eh. Whoa! Welcome back to another episode of the Captain 501 broadcast. Thank you guys so much for being here today. Guys, it's the third solo episode of the season. Would it make progress? How are we doing? Last week was Is It M? The guest episode with Is It M. If you guys haven't seen it, be sure to go ahead and check that episode out. Is It M? You know, it's our first time working together, again, as mentioned in the podcast, but we've known each other for years, and it was finally great to get to sit down and have a chat with her about, you know, like her music career and things like that. So that was a fun episode again. So if you guys haven't seen that episode, go ahead and check it out now. It's up on the page. Go ahead and keep up to date with all the other episodes that are out now. Keep up with the podcast. And again, if you guys haven't, go keep up with it. And if you have, all right. Now, guys, lots to talk about. At the time of me recording this video, it's also a couple days after the introduction of the new design for the Belizean currency. And like all good things in life, of course I have thoughts. Now, I already made this joke on TikTok. If you guys haven't seen it yet, go ahead and check it out. Go follow me on TikTok. I made the joke that, you know, if you don't want the currency, if you don't like the new design, just give it to me. Plain and simple and as straight and as easy as that. If you don't like the new design, just simply give it to me. I go about in my what they call it, in my the truck there where they use for bring down box and barrel from states, the big container truck. I go around the whole city, the whole country, now that really. And anybody when I want it, when I want a new design, just give it to me and I put it in the back of my truck. It's as simple as that. For the most part, a lot of Belizeans aren't happy with the new design, which is expected, right? And if we're being honest, it was expected that a lot of people were not going to be happy with the design because it's change. And change is supposed to be uncomfortable. Change is supposed to, quote unquote, create chaos, right? And a lot of us as Belizeans are used to things being a certain way, and we hate for things not to be that certain way. We hate change. We hate to adapt. We hate breaking tradition, you know, and that's a habit that we have to break free from. Truly, right? It's a habit that's been going on for generations, and I feel like as new generations are coming in, they're being brought up and taught the same thing, that you're supposed to embrace tradition and reject modernity. And there's nothing wrong with embracing tradition, right? There's nothing wrong with liking things to be a certain way. There's no problem with that. But I think there also has to be that balance where we have to be able to adapt to the new and evolving world around us. Because if we're being honest, it's also a part of the reason why Belize is still out of date when it comes to a lot of things. When the new money had just dropped, there was a post on Facebook where somebody said, you know, citizens are debating about the new design, when in reality we should be debating about the fact that Belize is still using cash as the, what is it? It's not the main source of payment, but Belize hasn't adapted to the credit card lifestyle. than, you know, like the rest of the world has, that we still heavily rely on cash. We're still heavily cash dependent. And again, at the same time, there's nothing wrong with that, but I think that we have to find that blend. That's all I'm trying to say. We have to find that blend where we can and still treasure our Belizean traditions, our Belizean way of life as how things used to always be, and also be able to accept change as it happens. Accept the ever-changing world around us, right? And I think that is also a good thing too, that the government, I think the government did a great thing with this rollout, where you can still use both designs. You're still able to use the old design. So if you prefer the old way, you're still able to use it that way. Of course, as time goes on, of course, as the years progress, the old design will slowly and slowly and slowly become less frequent. But for now, in order for Belizeans to adapt to the new design, they can still use the old design. And that's what I mean when I say finding that blend. Finding that blend between old and new. You can still use the old while also learning how to adapt to the new, right? And now, of course, there are some... I'm trying to find the right word to use. Of course, there are some people out there who have to be the ones to say things that don't make sense, right? Because the first thing that people said was that it's going to devalue the dollar, that the new design is going to devalue the dollar. And of course, because one person says it, then now everybody started to say it, because, you know, it's that mob mentality, that if one person believes it, then the more people begin to believe it. And of course, then everybody's going to believe it. And I don't know where that rumor stemmed from, that the money is going to devalue, because that's not how money works. That's not how, you know, listen, I'm not the one to give a whole financial literacy class. You know, I'm not even educated myself in that sense to be the one to do that. But I know for a fact that that's not how money works. That just changing the design makes it less valuable. And also, if you've seen the billboards that are around the city, a lot of them say same value. Or what is it? New design, same value. And it's so, it's so beyond me that they have to put that there in order for people to understand that it's still worth the same. They have to put that tagline there so that people could grasp that it's the same money, just that there's new people on it, right? And I don't hate the new design. This is the $20 bill, right? I don't hate the new design. I think that the new design, it feels the same. It's the same colors, you know, so it's not like you're going to get confused between a blue note is still a blue note. It's still $100, right? This color is still the same $20 bill, right? All that it is that it's new people, right? And my only criticism about the design itself is that I feel that they could have used more people besides George Price and Philip Golson. Of course, George Price and Philip Golson. George Cadle Price, by the way. So when you think about it, George Cadle Price is on the money. So when you think about it, it's like I'm on the money. Isn't that insane? It's like I'm on the money. Anyways, yeah, I think that they could have used more people, because while George Price, the Right Honorable George Cadle Price, the first Prime Minister and Premier of Belize, the father of the nation, and Philip S.W. Golson are important figures, legends, icons of Belizean history, there are more aside from them that could have taken the place of other bills, right? George Price should maybe the 100. I agree with that, right? And then, you know, debate on who else can maybe the rest of dollars. And maybe they will make further changes to the design in the future. Maybe they will. You know, but for now, this is a start. It's also, when they first announced the new design earlier this year, that they were going to be taking the queen off, for some reason that upset a lot of people. aside from it being a new design, the specifically taking the queen off was what made people upset. I don't know why, but again, it's that same mentality of used to having things one way. But I was all for it because how long have we been independent now? This year is going to make 4 to 4 years of us being independent. How many years have we been independent? 4 to 4 years. And yet we still had the queen as the face of our Belizean currency. Right? And so, like I said, I think that this is a step forward into us becoming truly independent. It's a step forward into change. It's a step forward into modernization. No, to me, this bill, this feels like ours, right? Because, and that's not to say that the old Belizean currency was ugly or anything like that, or that it was bad or it wasn't representative of us, but this feels more like us because now we have people who are Belizeans on the face of the Belizean currency. So now this is like 100%, maybe not 100%, because I'm sure that there's still some. All right, this feels more like us now. This feels more like a Belizean currency now. Anyways, those are my thoughts on the new money design. All right, now I wanted to talk about my book update, because if you guys remember in episode 1, I had said that there's all these books behind me and I've read like maybe 30% of them, right? But, and this is gonna shock the masses, right? I have started this one. I've started to read this book. It's called Shutter Island. All right, that's if you guys can see that, by Dennis Lian. It's called Shutter Island, right? I had just started to read this one maybe like at the beginning of the month. No, that's a lie actually. I had started to read it around the time of the St. Thomas trip. So it's like almost a month now. And when I had first started to read it, if anybody cares by the way, when I had first started to read it, I did not realize it, but I had actually seen the movie for this book. The movie that this book is based off of. The movie that is based off of this book. Yeah, I had seen it a while back. It's a movie, Shutter Island. It's a movie with Leonardo DiCaprio and Mark Ruffalo. And I kind of remember it, I kind of don't. But the thing is, I was not going to continue it because I was like, I already know how it ends. But then I did some research and they said that it's not the exact same ending. I'm hoping that it's not, it's still an interesting read. I'm still continuing it because, I already started it and I don't want to stop it. But yeah, this is the book that I'm reading right now, Shutter Island by Dennis Lian. Now, whilst I was looking for a book to read, I had stumbled across this book. For the audio listeners, this book is called Characters and Caricatures in Belizean Folklore. It's the one with Tata Duende on the front. It's the folklore book. If any Belizean is watching right now and you grew up going to school in Belize, you know about this book. Because this book here, this is an iconic book, all right? This is the iconic book with all of the Belizean folklores, from Tata Duende to Anansi to Cadejo to Ole Heg to Warimasa. And I decided, you know what? Why not we take a trip down memory lane and go through this book and go through some of our infamous Belizean folklores, all right? I'm pretty sure that you can also find this book at like any bookstore in Belize. It's a yellow book. It has yellow borders. It's called Characters and Caricatures in Belizean Folklore. Can I speak? Can I speak today? Characters and caricatures in Belizean Folklore. If you guys want to go take a look. I could find a good one for start off with. This one is called Jack-o'-lantern. Jack-o'-lantern. Okay, make us see if I remember this one. This is the one with the ball of light when it said that if you follow the light, it will carry you into, it will lead you to danger. Or that it will lead you to like some kind of, dangerous path or something like that. All right, let's read it. Jack-o'-lantern or jack-o'-lantern is seen in various areas of Belize, mostly as a flame or a bright light emanating from an unidentifiable source. On summer and autumn nights, it hovers over swamps, stagnant waters, and graveyards. Though seen mostly on or near bodies of waters, jack-o'-lantern has been spotted in swampy areas near vats and canals. So now that's different from what I remember, because I always remember that they would say that jack-o'-lantern you would find that in like the rainforest, or if you ever got lost in the rainforest at night or things like that, that you would see it. But apparently it's in the city too. Apparently it's outside. If you go outside right now, you see jack-o'-lantern. Apparently, according to this book, I don't know. Jack-o'-lantern has been spotted as a ghost ship at Robinson's Point. It even assumes the form of an illuminated pirate ship, sailing silently with no one on board. The phantom ship has been spotted along the coast at night by fishermen and sailors who recalls the legends of the days of yore, when pirates frequented our coast and keys in ships laden with treasure. Can I be honest? If I was a fisherman at night, first of all, I would never be a fisherman at night, because being on the sea at night, the only time I would be on the sea at night that if I did on a cruise ship. If I was a fisherman and I say what phantom ship, I'd run pan water. I'd run pan water like the Jesus lizard. I'd run left the boat. Jack-o'-lantern is perhaps one of the few folklore phenomena that may have been explained scientifically. Really? And its frivolous nature has landed it the name of ignis fatuus, or foolish fire. Foolish fire? According to marine biologist Jackie Carter, the light has three primary sources. The green flash seen at sunset is the result of the sun's rays passing through the atmosphere just before the sun slips below the horizon. A second common source is the light caused by the action of certain bacteria breaking down food and decaying animal matter in warm climates. The light can also be produced chemically by marine organisms themselves, in a similar manner to the firefly or glowworm. A cold green light is emitted when the enzyme luciferase is released in special cells in a wide variety of sea life, including tiny crustaceans, jellyfish, and fish. So how you explain the ship then? So who the lie? Really, that's the question. Who the lie? Because I don't think somebody the lie. And I don't want to know what? I believe the fishermen. I believe the fishermen all the time. I definitely believe the fishermen, and I don't think that the fishermen didn't lie. If they say that they saw a phantom ship, then saw a phantom ship. Okay, so we make a Belizean folklore limited series on Netflix, right? And then every episode is a different folklore. You guys get what I say? Let's work on that. Let's work on that, team. Jack-o'-lantern will be the first one. That will be like the introduction. All right, let's do another one. Hashishi Pampi. Remember when they just tell her that you look hashishi? The fire heart has always played a central role in rural life, and for a couple from Doublehead Cabbage, part of an established evening routine was to check that all sparks of the heart had been put out and all leftover food was properly covered. The heart's base, which was a wooden structure very much like a table, was covered with a thick layer of clay or limestone. An iron bar on a tripod of stones was used to support pots. Any ashes from the firewood would remain in the hearth. On one evening, the couple was in the kitchen looking directly at the hearth when they saw what looked like little men frolicking mischievously. The creatures were tiny and their skin almost exactly matched the color of the ashes in which they were playing. While talking to some villagers about what they had seen, the couple was told about the Hashishi Pampe. You know, and again, if there's one person that I would believe, it would be the Ole Heads in the society. It would be the Ole Heads in the community. If the Ole Heads tell me that there's little men that's growing out of the ashes in the fire heart, I would believe they. Why should I not? Stories of Hashishipampe are prominent among rural Belizeans who tell of seeing them wriggling or rubbing their bodies in the warm ashes of a fire hearth while their heads stick out in plain view. They often feast on items roasted in the intense heat of their playground. Hashishipampe were also seen by loggers and chicleros, playfully jumping up and down in the ashes left after a large fire. In the evening, they often leave their usual fiery domain to wander about the roadside, sometimes frolicking in the road and holding up traffic. So Hashishipampe they don't seem evil, or they don't seem bad. They just seem mischievous, really. They just seem like they just want to have fun. So the moral of the story is that if you see tiny little men playing in the ashes of your fire heart, just leave them. They just want to have fun. All right, let's do another. I'm gonna find another. Cadejo. I don't think I remember Cadejo. In Belizean villages such as San Jose Socots or Socotash, the Cadejo is described as a hairy goat-like animal or a large shaggy dog, hence its name, which translates from the Spanish as tangled hair. The Cadejo is said to have the hooves of a goat, the horns of a bull, and the tail of a puma or lion, and its flaming eyes and foaming mouth give it an aura of evil. Cadejo sound like one big bile-up. One big mix-up. What? The hooves of a goat, the horn of a bull, and the tail of a puma or lion. Cadejo don't know where you want to be in a life. That's the Cadejo problem right there. The Cadejo may appear as a white animal protecting drunken men who have lost their way in the jungle. Most often, however, it appears as a black animal seeking out habitual drunkards who are falling in the streets. Then the Cadejo hungrily licks their mouths and follows them for 9 days until there is no longer a chance they will get well. So then which is it then? Again, Cadejo don't know where you want to be. Does it want to be a white figure that protects the drunkards or a black one will kill me? Cadejo don't get on my nerves. Some residents of San Jose Socots tell that the Cadejo appears as a human skeleton, pulling a chain. The legend has it that when the rattling sounds nearby, the Cadejo is in fact far away, so you need not worry. The time for concern is when the rattling seems distant, for then the Cadejo may be close enough to reach out and touch you. Cadejo sound like one big mind game. The further away that the Cadejo sounds that they're right behind you, that don't make no sense. Cadejo need to pick one lane. Do you want to be a bull? You want to be a goat? You want to be a skeleton? You want to be a puma or a lion? Or do you want to be a white skeleton that helps drunkards? Or do you want to be a black skeleton that kills drunkards? What do you want to be in life, Cadejo? Okay, so then for this episode, here what we are doing. It'll be like Sinners style. Have you guys seen the movie Sinners with the vampire? It would be something in that kind of style where the Cadejo, it will appear white and it will pretend, like it can't help you out. And then when it gains your trust, when you decide to let it inside, when you give it permission to come inside, then it changes into the black form. And then yeah. Are you guys writing this down? Are you guys making notes? You guys should be making notes. This is a part of the brainstorming session. Remember, this is going on Netflix, This is going on Netflix, guys. Take notes. This episode of the Captain 501 broadcast is brought to you by Bakery. Hey Belize, got a sweet tooth or a craving for something fresh from the oven? Let me introduce you to your new favorite indulgence, Bakery. Bakery is Belize's new small baking business, serving up handcrafted treats that taste like home, only better. From gooey brownies and rum-infused cakes to tropical-inspired cookies, every bite is made with love, local ingredients, and a sprinkle of magic. Whether you're planning a birthday bash, need a pick-me-up for your office crew, or just want to treat yourself because you deserve it, Bakery's got you covered. And guess what? They work with your favorite runman to ensure your desired goods are delivered right to your door in Belize City. So skip the supermarket sweets and go for something truly special. Add them on WhatsApp to see what's fresh out of the oven today. You can contact them at 501-621-6071 or you can find them on social media at Bakery. That's 501-621-6071. Bakery. Whisk with love, served with joy. Alright, Tata Duende. He is well known amongst old and young, and stories about him are told amongst the Creole, East Indians, Garinago, and Maya. One of Belize's most infamous folklore characters, Tata Duende, and get his name from Tata, the Maya title for old man or grandfather, and Duende, Spanish for dwarf. Descriptions of him are as numerous and varied as the places in which he has been seen. Although most accounts say he is about 3 feet tall and wears a wide brim hat, he is often described as a short old man with a white beard, and residents of San Jose Socots say, why the always San Jose? That way go on a Socots. Why really they go on a Socots? Make I know you know, cause I was stay far if that's so. If that's so they go on a Socots, I was stay far. Sometimes he wears a big red hat and animal skins for clothing, carries a machete or a knotted stick, and smokes a pipe. He has also been seen wearing red or brown shirt and pants, and a big straw hat and pointed boots. Tata Duende is almost always described as stockily built with a hairy body and ugly mean face. Motherfire. Tata Duende, you a take that? Tata Duende, you a make they call you ugly? You a take that? Chow boy. He is fond of roaming in pastures and in pine ridges, but his home is usually in a dark cave in the depths of the forest or in secret underground caverns. While Alan Rabinowitz was tracking jaguars in the Coxcomb Basin. Yes, so this is what they talk about, man. Tracking jaguars in the Coxcomb Basin. He recalls being alone in the forest on a dark night when rain clouds covered the moon and the stars. Alone in the Belizean rainforest to hunt jaguars. Not even the hunt jaguars, the track jaguars. He felt that the forest was unusually still, and a sudden chill ran down his spine. Though frightened, he forced himself to stay and wait for the jaguar. After half an hour of waiting, he could no longer ignore his fear and decided to head back to camp. His truck had been facing the forest and he turned on the headlights, getting ready to swing the vehicle towards the road. In the light, he saw a strange sight, a small man about 3 feet high, with his left palm signaling him to stop. Panicking, he turned his vehicle around and raced down the road. After driving for a while, he began to feel he was letting his imagination get the better of him and decided to return to the site. Motherfire boy. He thought that he was letting his imagination get the better of him and he returned to the site. No, I have a pretty wild imagination, right? I know the difference between thinking of a 3-foot man and seeing a 3-foot man in front of me. What did the name? Alan Rabinowitz. Who is this? Let's do some research. An American zoologist who served as the president, CEO, and chief scientist at Panthera Corporation, a non-profit conservation organization devoted to protecting the world's 40 wildcat species. So this is a real person. So this is a real situation. This is a real scenario. Wait. Wait. Because I thought that this was a story. This is a real person. This was a real encounter. Stop playing. All he saw was bush, but he was unable to brush off his uncomfortable feeling, and throughout the night kept wondering if he had actually seen the duende and which the workers at the camp had told him. Stop playing. I had to be for real. Stop playing. The role of the Tata Duende varies as much as his appearance. As the traditional guardian angel of all animals and persons in the rainforest, he always looks out for them. A kind creature by nature, he protects both animals and humans, often feeding, protecting, and curing persons hurt or lost in the forest. Really? He is a close friend to the animals and punishes hunters who kill more game than they need to. This aspect of his personality has given him the name Dueño del Monte, or owner of the forest. The Garinago call him Duendo, and he is also the guardian of hidden treasures. To schedule a meeting with him. What are we talking about? To schedule a meeting with him so he can reveal his hidden treasures, one can carve a message onto a pine tree. What are we talking about? To schedule a meeting with the Tata Duende? Listen, I don't think he got any hidden treasures where I want to say that bad. I'm good. I'll pass. Thanks though. Thanks for the invite, but I'll pass. Meetings are generally at noon, and those wanting Duendo to tell him where gold or other treasure is hidden must bring along a white rooster and a white sheet on which to make the offering. To further persuade him to reveal his hidden creature, they can promise him their firstborn. I think I good pan this one actually. Yeah, I think I good pan that. Yeah, I don't need I don't need to say that their hidden treasure is that bad. I'm good. I also do want to say though, a pattern that I've been noticing amongst all of these folklores is that many of them have Mayan origin. Mayan slash Spanish origin, right? Because they're as well, as I mentioned, most of them happen in Sokots for some reason, which is a Maya village. Is it a Maya village? Let me make sure of that. Yes, San Jose Sokots is a Mayan village. Guys, I'm literally the smartest person alive. This is insane. But yeah, most of them have Mayan origins, and this is the first time that this is the first time that I'm hearing another culture being brought up, right? The Garifuna that they talk about with Tata Duende, right? Of course, the Creole also believe in these folklores as well. Tata Duende is a prominent one amongst Creole folklore, right? But you know what I mean? It's not that like it originated as Creole folklore. Majority of them have Mayan origins, which is interesting. Which is, yeah, I that's interesting. Why is that? Of course, every other culture has their own folklore. I mean, Anansi, for example, being one of the most known folklores in Belizean tradition, right? And that's not of Mayan origin. We should read Anansi next. Or do Anansi next. Because that's a good one too. But yeah, you guys get what I'm saying, right? I wonder why that is. And I'm not finding any precise explanation behind that. But yeah, the majority of them are of Mayan origin. Alright, let's do Anansi. By far the most popular Belizean folklore character, Anansi is the one about whom many have written and told, and many more have read and heard. Most of Anansi's attributes are so exaggerated that they appear funny rather than disgusting. He is a lazy lying thief. He is greedy, selfish, and treacherous. In his spindly body are packed with some of the worst qualities a creature can have. Alright, not too much now. Not too much for Anansi now. And one of the best, intelligence. His intelligence compensates for his small size and is his most famous weapon. Anansi is distinguished from all folklore characters in many ways, the most important of which is the active role he plays in the daily lives of people in Belize, the Caribbean, and Africa. No one claims to have seen Anansi, but everyone has heard of him and his tricky ways, because if people cannot remember an old Anansi story, they can always create one. And I guess that is how folklore, that is the purpose of folklore. You know that it's not this one stagnant precise thing, right? Everybody has their own depiction, everybody has their own stories, just like we read with Tata Duende where they said that he doesn't have a set appearance because everybody has their own take, everybody has their own spin on the story. That's interesting to read about. Even though he had been adopted through the Caribbean, Anansi is still a prominent character amongst the Hausa and other West African peoples, and the chief character of animal tales told by the Ashanti of Ghana. Over the years, his Akin Ashanti name of Kwaku Anansi has been shortened to just Anansi, a word that translates as spider, but in Belize is used to identify any person who is clever and cunning. Anansi stories are told all over the country in the communities of Back Landing, Bermuda Landing, Burrell Boom, Flowers Bank, Half Moon Key, Mango Creek, Mascal, Dangriga, and Belize City, just to name a few. Anansi crossed over to the New World on slave ships from Africa, and once here was given the respect that only someone as skillful as he could command. He was a favorite subject for storytellers because his stories had the power to temporarily take the slaves away from their problems into a world where intelligence was rewarded. Anansi has many talents. He is an actor, musician, and eloquent speaker despite his lisp. He can change his voice to imitate others and can sing and play the fiddle. Eternally scheming, he finds ways to outsmart his enemies, outwit his friends, and even trick his own family. Then he relies on his glib speech to get out of difficulties. One of the main African influences in our culture today, Anansi remains very much alive, even though an article entitled The Death of Anansi once gave a detailed description of how he died. Why haven't we made an Anansi movie? I guess I'll do it. Fine, I guess I'll make it. I guess I'll make the Anansi movie, guys. Fine. You know, if you want something done, you have to do it yourself, right? I guess I'll make the Anansi movie. Let's do one more. I could find one more. Ole Heg. Let's do Ole Heg. Skinny, skinny. You don't know me? This is the tortured cry of the vampire-like Ole Heg, popularly depicted as an old woman in stories told throughout rural Belize. Loggers at our old mahogany camps told about her, and she is believed to have African roots, but also resembles the witches of or brujas of Mayan lore. Again, another Mayan folklore. Belizean poet James Sullivan Martinez, who spent much of his youthful years with his father at logging camps, was inspired to write about her in a local newspaper. Ole Heg is sent to frequent communities with dilapidated buildings, emerging late at night in search of victims from whom she can suck blood. She prepares her attack by uttering an oracion. Did I pronounce that right? Oracion. A prayer that will allow her to remove her skin, which she hangs on the ceiba tree. Hey, the ceiba tree. Mayan, the ceiba tree. Ceiba connected to Xibalba. Ole Heg is from Xibalba. It is said that she will then transform herself into a flying ball of fire that can enter a home through the keyhole. Some say that she straps 2 straw mats to her arms in order to fly onto the thatched roof of a house and sit there, peeking in until the moment for her entrance is right. I know to like Ole Heg. Once inside, she chooses any sleeping person, although children are her favorite victims. She visits on several successive nights, sucking blood from the same person. Her victims become paler and thinner each day and often die as a result. I know to like that one. I know I mess with Ole Heg. As powerful as she is, Ole Heg is unlikely to venture out during the day. Children who are not aware of this will tease old women and mark bridges, doors, and windows with chalk in an attempt to keep Ole Heg away. Ole Heg can be kept at bay in several ways, one of the easiest being to dress in blue, a color she avoids. Why? Why blue? I guess because blue is also like purity in a way. Well, so is white. Why blue? At night, parents often put their children to sleep in a blue garment as protection from her. Another one of Ole Heg's enemies is asafoetida, a foul-smelling gum resin that will keep her far away. An upside-down broom will also prevent her from coming into the house. I heard about that one. It is common for people to scatter wangla, sesame seeds, on the floor in their homes or on their doorsteps. See, I used to always heard that it was mustard seeds. Because on seeing the seeds, Ole Heg becomes obsessed with picking them up. She does this slowly one by one, and when her hand is full, she pours them on the ground and begins to collect them again over and over until morning comes. She cannot leave until night falls again, and once Ole Heg has been trapped in this way, she can be beaten to death with a broom. So the entity that can remove her own skin and become a flaming ball that can smollen herself to fit into a keyhole is defeated by wangla seeds. The enemy, the entity that drinks blood from children is defeated by Wangla seeds. Perhaps because of her association with these seeds, she is called Wangla Lady. The most popular method to defeat Ole Heg is to seek out her skin, which hangs on the ceiba tree or lies in the mortar, and sprinkle it with salt. When she later returns and tries to re-enter her skin, it will sting her flesh, and she will chant in desperation, "Skinny, skinny, you don't know me?" If I could ever take off my skin and I put it back on and one salt burn my flesh, I think the last thing I would do would be for sing. I think skinny, skinny, you don't know me? What does that mean? What is the purpose of that? Genuine question. How much of folklore is people just making stuff up? No, because then you like again you have the encounter with the guy that actually saw Tata Duende in real life. So like what is the limit between the it just being a regular folk tale versus it being reality? And how many of it is people just saying stuff? How many of it is people just making stuff up? I'm still trapped on the fact that if you sprinkle the Wangla seeds on the ground, she will pick them up one by one while you beat her to death. If you sprinkle the Wangla seeds, she will stay there and pick them up one by one, and when she done, she will drop them down upon the ground and pick them up again. Well, hang not too bright. Those were some good Belizean folklores though. Yeah. Maybe in another video we tackle the rest of them in this book, because there's a lot. There's like at least like 6 or 7 more that I haven't talked about, right? So maybe we save those for another video. But yeah, I just wanted to go over those because it's been a while. It's been a while since I've jogged the memory about some Belizean folklores. Alright, so with that being said, as I mentioned, we are going to be working on the Belizean Folklore Limited series, which is going to be coming out on Netflix sometime in the near future. We have to start planning. We have to start coming up with the script. We have to start looking for actors who are going to be in the series. We need actors for Ole Heg, for Tata Duende, for Hashishi Pampe, for who else? For Anansi. We need producers, we need writers, we need people to make this a reality, right? We're gonna be hosting auditions soon, guys. So if you know that you want to be the next Tata Duende. Also, guys, if you guys have never read this book before, or if you want to have another copy of this book is also available on Access 501 right now. It's under the eBelize library. Characters and caricatures in Belizean folklore. Definitely go on there. I'm gonna have it linked in the description, of course, if you guys want to go check it out. Characters and caricatures in Belizean folklore. Definitely go and check it out on Access 501 now. This episode of the Captain 501 broadcast is brought to you by the National Institute of Culture and History, NICH. NICH has been serving Belize for over 20 years as Belize's premier cultural institution, dedicated to safeguarding and preserving culture and history. Whether it's divisions like the Institute of Archaeology or the Institute of Social and Cultural Research, NICH has created various outlets to maintain an open and collaborative approach to cultural heritage and arts promotion, management, and cultural safeguarding with its various stakeholders. You can learn more about the resources provided by NICH by visiting the Museum of Belize or the Museum of Belizean Art located in Belize City, the various houses of culture located countrywide, as well as visiting nichbelize.org or other websites such as the 501 Academy and Access 501. Alright, let's get into the controversial topic for this week. My controversial topic is that I believe jaguars are more superior than lions. And I may be biased because, you know, we have jaguars in Belize. Jaguars are like our mascot, right? But I think that wait, let's do some research. Jaguars have a stronger bite force relative to their size, but lions have a more powerful bite force. I may just be biased again because, like I said, Belize has jaguars and they don't have lions. But to me, a jaguar, I prefer a jaguar over a lion. No, the whole reason why this topic came about, right, was because I was thinking to myself that I would want to adopt a jaguar because I saw that the Belize Zoo has this program where you can adopt jaguars, right? Where you can adopt an animal, and a jaguar was one of them, right? And then it got me thinking to myself, I it got me thinking to myself that I would want my own pet jaguar. I would want a pet jaguar. No, no, I understand that that's an insane thing to say, right? But but have you seen jaguar cubs? Have you seen jaguar cubs? That's all I have to say. If not friend, why friend shaped? All right, let's get into the big three for this week. Okay, so starting off with the TikTok video, this is my favorite TikTok video for this week.
Me know me good. Have me body does a wine and a boom, 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 boom. Have me body does a jump and a boom, 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 boom.
Similarly to the last one, I'm not going to explain why I found it funny. You know, you either get it or you don't, right? Because how do I explain why I found that funny? The artist that I wanted to highlight for this week is Artist Griffith. Artist Griffith, he's a realism artist, and specifically there was this painting that just came up on my feed a while back. Yeah, this one specifically. You know, as I mentioned, I think that artists are brilliant in their own right. Being able to capture this being paint on a paper, you know what I mean? Paint on a canvas, as opposed to it being like a camera that snaps a picture of the moment and prints it out. This being paint, time, talent, skill on a canvas. I always have to give respect to artists across this country because, you know, we need creative minds and imaginations to continue to flourish in this country. And because of that, we have to continue supporting our artists. All right, and then my song of the week is the entire We Wanna Party EP from Tyler. You know, the one that has the songs Mr. Media, Is It, Bliss, all of those songs. That's my song of the week. I can't pick one. Sorry. Shout out to the Hidden Gems with the phone case. Yeah, I forgot to mention it in the last episode, but they pointed it out actually. I got this phone case a couple months ago, and you know, I barely take it off. The only time I take it off is when I clean the phone, which is never. So so yeah, they're a Belizean entrepreneur brand. They make these phone cases for different types of phone. They also do like outfits, clothing as well. So yeah, definitely go check them out. The Hidden Gems Belize. All right, guys. That's gonna do it for this episode for me this week. We established a lot. We covered quite a lot of ground, right? And remember, I hope that you guys were taking notes. I hope that you guys were writing this stuff down because we are going to be making that film. We are going to be making that series. And being that you guys are my team, I need you guys to lock in with me. All right? Good. And also, this is going to be the last solo episode before we enter into the month of September, because next week is going to be our guest episode, and then after that we're going to officially be in the month of September. And I think when I say that this September is going to be one of the best for me, not get it. Not get it. It's not clocking. It's not clocking to you that I'm standing on business this September. You guys aren't ready. You guys aren't ready. You claim to be ready. So you say. So you say, in the words of Yastalia in the first guest episode, so you say. Be sure to follow me on all my different social media accounts on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Captain Cadle. If you want more episodes of the podcast, follow us wherever it is that you get your podcast from, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube for the video portions. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Stay up to date with all the episodes if you haven't yet. Last week was Is It M. Our first guest episode was with Yastalia. If you haven't seen those yet, go ahead and check them out. Stay up to date with all of the episodes. And I will see you guys back at this desk next week for another guest episode, but back here specifically on September 1st. That's all I'm gonna say. Just meet me back here September 1st. All right? Deuces.